were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before your bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose. Show me the money.
Let's get out of here, man.
Show you the money.
Honestly, like, let's just go. Let's go to Vegas.
Look at you back to that, Jerry. I want you to say it what you would mean it, brother. Show me the money!
It's the Sports Memory Vegas pregame.
Hey, Nooms. Welcome to the College Football Podcast. Trevor Irish here with Newman. How's it going today, Nooms? How you feeling so far with this college football bowl season?
Dude, I'm crushing you guys. I am up big. I've got a reverse record from you, 13-8, 5 games over 500. So if you're out there, you should probably not pay attention to what Trevor says, or at least fade him. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well, so I'll take that. And I mean, this is the good games right here. We're leading in near 6 bowl, all that kind of stuff. We're closing in on the new year, so closing out 2021, and let's get to it, man.
Hey, this is where your luck changes, Newman, because all those other games, they didn't matter. There are teams I had never watched, nor do I knew even one person on some of these teams. You know this stuff, so that's why you're getting the head start.
They still count on the scoreboard, Trevor.
They do, but now it's time for a comeback because I actually know what's going on with some of these teams. So yes, I'm excited to get into these ones. These are the fun games to watch, the fun games to bet on. So let's get right into it.
And Brandon is 1 game under 500 right there. So. He's in the middle of us.
Hey, we're both in the L bracket right now, so we got a lot of catching up to do, which I'm confident we can based off of some of these picks. Because guess what? Sometimes I just need to fade you in order to get back to this game. So we'll see how it goes.
So we'll start off. We've got a couple games playing tonight. Clemson is kicking ass, and I think we're all on Clemson there. We also all have Oklahoma later, but we've already made those picks. So we'll move on to the next set of games, starting with tomorrow, and we've got a fun one. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, featuring North Carolina giving 10 points to South Carolina. Over under 57 points here. All 3 of us are on the Tar Heels. Any thoughts specifically about this game?
I only have 2 comments here. I think Sam Howell has dropped so far on the draft boards that he wants to make a final statement coming into the offseason and the combine. So I think they're going to have a big game. It's going to be a lot of points scored on both sides. So I'm liking the over here. I'm liking UNC on this one. And the only other side bet or prop bet, if you can get this, is what's the over under? We see a guy douse himself in just a tub of mayonnaise again during the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
The coaches, whoever coach wins this game, will have a bath of Duke's Mayo.
No.
Yes, this has already been agreed upon.
That's glorious. Oh, I'm so happy. That just made me happy right there. I'm going to watch that game just because of that. Don't care who wins now.
Yeah. But Sam Howell's definitely a better quarterback here. UNC was preseason top 25 team. South Carolina was supposed to be bad. And so South Carolina finding themselves in this game is a compliment to them. They actually outplayed their record. They, knocked off Florida. They won some other SEC games. So a team that is definitely making strides towards being decent. Plus, they're going to add Spencer Rattler and Austin Stogner, the tight end from Oklahoma as well. So, I mean, things are looking up for South Carolina. But in this particular game, Sam Howell's last as a Tar Heel. I'm going to take the Tar Heels to cover that 10 points as well.
Yep, I think high scoring game. Tar Heels all day, baby.
Yeah. So TransPerfect Music City Bowl, Tennessee playing there in Nashville not too far from Knoxville. And then they're giving 6 points to Purdue, who's coming down from Brandon's state of Indiana there. The over under for this game is 64.5, which I think that this very well could hit the over because these teams can both score. And defense has sometimes been an issue for both of them. And it looks like all of us are on the Vols. Point of note for this game, Purdue is going to be without their 2 best players in David Bell and George Karlaftis. they're two high ground, probably draft picks right there. David Bell's one of the better wide receivers in the country, and Karlaftis is, a freak himself. So that kind of skews and pushes the table for me to take Tennessee in this game, despite giving the 6 points. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm Tennessee all day. As you mentioned, two best players out on the other side is a big difference. The -6 points here is where I like to be. I think Tennessee can easily
one touchdown.
win by one touchdown, exactly. But I like that. I like where it's at. Over under. Yeah, I see this one, going way, way over potentially with how these teams can score. I like Tennessee. They've had some big games. They beat Kentucky just a few games ago in another high scoring game. So I think they are the better team and that they come out with the win on this one. But it should be a fun one to watch. This is one I think if you like scoring, you're going to want to watch this game.
And the Music City Bowl is one of those better venues in general, too. So expect to be very orange for that game. Then going into a little bit later slate, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, number 12, Pittsburgh taking on number 10, Michigan State. The Pittsburgh Panthers are the ACC champions. They, however, will be without star quarterback Kenny Pickett for this game, and Michigan State will be without star running back Kenneth Walker on their side. Michigan State is a 2.5-point favorite for this one, over under of 55.5, which I think is high. I would probably take the under on that. And what do you think here?
Yeah, so I'm looking at where your all picks are. I'm on the opposite side. I like Michigan State in this one. I think the missing of Kenny Pickett is absolutely massive for that team. They won't be able to put up, the ridiculous amount of points that they're normally used to putting up. Michigan State can get away with a mediocre, or I'm not saying mediocre. I mean the backup at Michigan State. Do you know who the backup running back is at Michigan State? Who they're
not
using
off the
here?
top of my head.
It won't even matter because I think that offensive line will be able to move Pittsburgh's defensive line over pretty easily. They control the time of the clock. I got Michigan State here. I think they'll win by a touchdown too, at least in this. So that's my pick, and definitely the under. As you mentioned before, I don't think this will be much of a high scoring game.
So Brandon is also on Pitt, along with me. He's been on Pitt all year, so that's not really surprising. However, the reasoning for my taking of Pitt in this game, despite Kenny Pickett being out, is Michigan State secondary is pretty much trash. And Pittsburgh has, as voted by the writers, the best wide receiver in the country in Jordan Addison. So, I mean, that's a good reason right there. I still think that Pittsburgh's going to be able to do
throwing the
enough.
ball? But who's throwing him the ball?
Nick Patty, who has played for Pittsburgh a little bit. I just trust. Honestly, I'd take Nick Patty over Peyton Thorne, Michigan State's quarterback. I think Michigan State might have a hard time moving the ball because Pittsburgh's defense is pretty good. They do have, and their head coach Narduzzi there is a former Michigan State defensive coordinator. So he's got motivation. I think Pittsburgh's going to be super motivated in this game to win it. And he can scheme it up to, kind of eliminate their best features, which is their running game. And let's be real. The reason why Kenneth Walker was so good is not because the Michigan State offensive line was good. It's because he was actually really good at breaking tackles. So I think that they could struggle here a little bit, and I'm on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, we'll see if that bad Michigan State secondary can defend against a backup quarterback. Still think it'll be interesting. But yes, we'll see. I'm glad that we have some opposite
got hammered.
here.
They got hammered when they were playing some other teams, so I don't trust them. Moving on, the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Wisconsin is giving 6 points to Arizona State. The over-under for this game is 41 points, and we are all on Wisconsin. Point of note, Arizona State will be without several key starters. They've also had some turmoil in regards to their coaching positions, and they're just the NCAA rules violations and all that kind of stuff. But they do have a lot of guys transferring out from Arizona State, so that could hamper them and play a factor there. Wisconsin has one of the best defenses in the country, as I've been telling you all year. So we're all going to take Wisconsin, and it's only one touchdown, which I think they can cover.
Yeah, I'm -6. I take this all day. You hit up all the high points on Arizona State. I just think Wisconsin is the better team. They had a tough loss against Minnesota in that last game, but they were on a roll after that. I think they bring that back here, and they've got some players that will definitely be in the NFL draft that are going to be wanting to play up their stock. So give me Wisconsin all day here.
All right, moving on to Friday and, New Year's Eve here. So we start with the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Number 17, Wake Forest, is a 15.5-point favorite over the newly implemented into this game, Rutgers Scarlet Knights, replacing the Texas A&M Aggies. The over-under for this is listed at 62 points. 15 is a huge number. I was very, very worried about this game, but I'm going to take Wake Forest because I just generally think they're a much better team than Rutgers. Rutgers wasn't even a 500 football team, and with as much time as Wake Forest has had to prepare for this game, all being focused, I think they'll be motivated. So I'm going to take Wake Forest to cover the 15, even though I'm kind of, pinching my nose, holding my nose when I'm doing it.
Yeah, I have a rule in my betting book that says I won't ever bet for Rutgers unless they are more than 35-point dogs. So I'm going to stick to that here in this one. They haven't had much time to prepare. They've had kids that just were done with football, trying to reel it back. I think Wake Forest definitely, wants to go out and show everyone that, they'll still be around in the ACC. I just think it's going to be a molly-whopping by Wake Forest. Nothing else to say. Rutgers is not a football school. Give me Wake all day here.
Rutgers is actually the oldest football school there is. So
Yeah,
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, Washington State Cougars are giving 7 points to the alternate team here, Central Michigan, who's replacing Miami due to Miami's having to opt out with COVID stuff. Like I said, they're 7.5-point favorites are the Cougars. The over-under for this game is 57.5. Central Michigan was supposed to play, so it's not like they're a team that was not expected to play here. They were supposed to play Boise State, who had some issues of their own. And it looks like Brandon and I are on Wazoo. Just kind of the better team here. This team almost won the Pac-12, and you're on Central Michigan.
Purely because you guys were on Washington State. I was looking for a game to pick up here that could just be a way out of the mark underdog story. So I don't like the -7. I know that Washington State is the better team, but I think what is the motivation factor here? We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm just feeling Central Michigan here as a switch-up game, primarily because I need some wins against you all. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm going to fade the MAC here, so I'm going to stick with that. Unfortunately, the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl was canceled, as we mentioned, with Central Michigan sliding into that spot for the Sun Bowl and Boise State sitting out. So we will move on to what everyone really wants to talk about, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Number 4, Cincinnati, taking on number 1, Alabama. Alabama is a 13.5-point favorite, 57.5-point over-under here. And it looks like you and Brandon are on Bama. I am on Cincy and the points.
Nice. Yeah, I see that you took Cincy. I was leaning more towards Cincy early on, right when they announced the matchups for the college football playoff. I've been on Cincy all year. I've liked what they've done. I've won some decent money on them. But I think just Alabama is hitting their stride. They came off that game versus Georgia looking really, really good. They're going to have a tough task, really kind of defensively trying to figure out. Cincinnati's going to throw everything at them. There's going to be a lot of different plays that I don't think they've seen before, which would be interesting. It's not your prototypical type of SEC team where you kind of know what you're going to be getting. Cincinnati can give you those curveballs. I still like Alabama. I like Bryce Young just doing his thing. I think he's going to have another monster game, and I think Alabama covers here, 2 touchdowns. I think it's going to be very, very close. So not confident, but I can't bet against Alabama, even though since he was my head horse this season.
Yeah, so, I mean, Alabama probably wins this game. I was very tempted to take Alabama, but I knew you guys were both going to take Bama. And at this point, I just think that Cincinnati is a good enough team that they can keep it within the 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to take those points. Realistically, I think Cincinnati, they're a tough team to play. They're a good quality opponent. And Alabama has kind of played down to some competition, as we've seen them when they've been big favorites earlier this season. So while they should be motivated, they have their goals in front of them, all the, national championship stuff. We've seen them have some issues here in certain spots like this. And I think that Cincinnati is good enough to at least keep it close to within the 2 touchdowns. Moving on, the later game on Friday there, the Capital One Orange Bowl, number 3 Georgia, 7.5-point favorite versus number 2 Michigan. So lower ranked team is the favorite here in this one. Over under of 45.5 points. It looks like Brandon and I are on Georgia, and you are on Michigan.
Yep. Michigan. I have a Charles Woodson jersey in my closet.
Are you gonna be wearing it?
That I will be wearing because I am
On New
undefeated.
Year's Eve, your wife's gonna let you wear a Charles Woodson jersey?
Florida State isn't playing. It doesn't matter. And by the way, my grandpa went to Michigan, so like I actually have some Michigan in my blood there. But no, I think as long as I'm wearing that, I'm confident that they'll win. I'm undefeated. Like I said, it's a 1-0, but whatever. It's pretty
So
cool
do you
jersey.
think Michigan actually wins this game, or you think they just cover?
No, I definitely think they cover. I am getting some feelings that Michigan is they are looking good. I mean,
So you're gonna have some Michigan money line somewhere here?
I absolutely, yes.
Okay.
That's definitely gonna be my play for sure. Especially if I do well in the earlier game, and getting Alabama. If I can roll that in, I like Michigan here. I think Georgia just they were looking so good at the beginning of the season. Teams kind of figured them out. We saw what Alabama did to them. Michigan is a solid team, and Aiden Hutchinson is one of the coolest players to watch. Could potentially go number one. Like, he's really starting to emerge. That team is good on both sides of it, and I mean, so is Georgia. Georgia might have one of the best defenses in the country, if not the best. But both these teams are just pretty exciting. I just like. I like McNamara. I like what they can do with their receivers, and I like their defensive line. Getting pressure, which I think is the key to getting into Georgia. So, give me Michigan on points, but potentially I'll have my money line out there on this one.
So for this one, for me, the thing is, I just think it's a bad stylistic matchup for Michigan. What they want to do is run the ball. It's very difficult to run the ball against Georgia, and that is going to present some problems. It is going to have to come down to how McNamara plays in this game for Michigan, and I don't think that's where you want to be. Georgia is a really well-rounded team. They're really motivated. They understand where they are in terms of their win cycle, and this being an opportunity for them. I don't expect them to come out in flat in any way, shape, or form. And so I just expect them to kind of be really, really amped up for this game. I think that they take it.
What do you think about the over-under on this? It's like 45.5. Like, these teams can both score and score a lot. That seems low to me.
I would lean under on that, honestly. I think that this game has a better chance of turning into a blowout in favor of Georgia than it does of turning into a shootout. But it does not necessarily mean it will be a blowout. I could totally see this game being something like 24-21.
Georgia in their blowouts are putting up 40 points plus on those. So like, they can cover it themselves in a blowout.
Let's not forget, Georgia allowed, I think, like 3 touchdowns this year outside of the game against Alabama.
Most recent game,
Michigan's
best
score
competition
against them is highly unlikely. And to score 3 touchdowns in order to hit that number of 45.5 or over it, you'd expect Michigan would have to score at least 3 touchdowns, which I think they may have a hard time doing. So, I mean, I'm taking Georgia. I would take the under on this for that.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely the most interesting matchup out of the two. I think it's definitely going to be the close one, but we'll see. Bama hung up 41.
Will it be the close one? I mean, I threw it out there. I would take a side bet and say that the Cincinnati-Alabama game winds up closer than the Georgia-Michigan game. No one so far has been willing to take that. So,
all right, Newman, watch your phone. There might be something coming your way.
So, okay, moving on to New Year's and the first bowl game that we played starting the year 2022, the Outback Bowl, Penn State versus number 21 Arkansas. Arkansas is a 1.5 point favorite. 48 is the over-under. Looks like you and Brandon are on Penn State, and I'm on the Hogs. Explain.
Arkansas has just been up and down all year. They've looked really good at the beginning. They can run the ball well. I think Penn State has played with a little bit more consistency than what it's kind of like I'd say I've seen this go both ways. I think this line's almost been even at some points, at least in some sites I've looked at. I just like Penn State as a better team, better coach team. Arkansas, I think, definitely plays well into what they want to do, but I just can't bet against Penn State and what they've done for me this season. So that's purely what Penn State's done for me recently.
So Penn State will be without their defensive coordinator, Brent Pry, who has taken the Virginia Tech job. They will also be without Jahan Dotson, who is their best offensive playmaker, who is declaring for the NFL draft. And they will also be without 5 defensive starters who are also declaring for the NFL draft. Arkansas, on the other side, will be without Traylon Burks, who is their best offensive playmaker and is declaring for the NFL draft, and will probably be a very high draft pick, as well as Dotson. But that's pretty much it for Arkansas. I think this is going to be a super motivated Arkansas team because bowling is not something they've done in the recent past. And, being without all those players for Penn State, as well as their defensive coordinator, et cetera, I think that this is a game that Arkansas should win going away. And that 1.5 points does not scare me in any way, shape, or form. So.
Yeah, there are some major players out. Penn State does have a few, but one thing is Penn State is deep. They've been recruiting well these past few years. I think they've got some good players that can step it up. So just saying.
I mean, that's great, but you're also new defensive coordinator, all that kind of stuff factoring into it. And Arkansas has what's his name? Kent Briles. Is their offensive coordinator.
Briles, yeah.
Their quarterback is still going to be in that playing at the game, and I think he's actually pretty good. And Penn State's quarterback is, let's face it, he's trash. So I'm still on the Hogs, and I expect them to, I think that's a line that you could definitely tease the other way if you needed to.
Yeah, these.
So let's go to the next game here. The PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, formerly the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, but I guess PlayStation outbid them for that one. Number 9, Oklahoma State versus number 5, Notre Dame. The Irish are a 2-point favorite in this game. The over-under is 45.5. Looks like Brandon is on Oklahoma State, and you and I are on Notre Dame. Brandon hates Notre Dame, so he's definitely going to pick against them.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, they lost their big opportunity. They should have been in the playoffs. They knew it. They ruined it. So I think a lot of this, there's a lack of really, I think the wind's out of their sails when it's coming in this game. Notre Dame, on the other hand, some may consider somewhat snubbed getting at, or, not making it in this round. But I think they're the better team. They've been playing well. They've been firing on all cylinders towards the end of the season, while Oklahoma State, like mentioned, had a rough loss. So I like Notre Dame here. Question though, safety of Notre Dame,
Kyle Hamilton.
5. Yeah, is he playing in this game?
No, he's not.
I didn't.
He did, but he hasn't played the last few games for them either. I think the biggest thing for me in terms of the Notre Dame being the take here is defense coordinator Jim Knowles has taken the defensive coordinator job at Ohio State. So Oklahoma State will be without him for this game. And I think that plays a big factor in this. Oklahoma State's defense, while they are experienced and a very good unit together, they are not stacked full of a bunch of really good players. I think Notre Dame, obviously, we know how they recruit. It's been a really high level. There's a lot of consistency because they do retain both coordinators in Marcus Freeman and Tommy Rees. So I expect this game to, Notre Dame to be just fine in regards to that. There is a lot of continuity of system there. And 2 points, I think they're just a better team in general. So I'm going to take Notre Dame there.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same page. Not, Brandon just picking this purely because he just hates Notre Dame. So we all know what those heart picks do to us. Usually doesn't bode well. So I feel like we're in a pretty good spot here.
Yeah. The next one, Verbo Citrus Bowl, number 15 Iowa versus number 22 Kentucky. The Wildcats are 3-point favorites in this game, over under of 44. Looks like we're all on the Wildcats. I think really it's a matter of, honestly, this is one of those games where it very easily could hit the under because both these teams' offenses may struggle. Both their defenses are pretty good. Iowa's a really good football team. They could absolutely win this one. I'm just kind of on Kentucky because I like their quarterback play a little bit better. They have some really good, wide receivers and stuff. So I expect them to be. And the thing is, a lot of SC teams, you see them where they're not super motivated. SC is 0-4 coming into today in bowl games so far. But Kentucky is not a team that has a lot more that they're really playing for outside of bowl games. So I expect this team to be super motivated. Stoops there, his I think it's grandfather and older brother both coached at Iowa. They're from that area and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of reasons for Kentucky to play well in this game.
Yeah. Before I get into this, you mentioned this. The name of this is Verbo Citrus Bowl. Is that how it's pronounced? Verbo? Is it VRBO? Like I'm wondering how this is even
Yeah,
pronounced. I'm an Airbnb guy, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's I believe it's Verbo. That's what the commercials all say. So
Verbo. Yeah, I've always wondered. I've looked at this. What the hell is this company's
Yeah.
name called? Verbo VR. Anyways, give me Kentucky here. I've watched a lot of, actually surprisingly, a lot of Kentucky games. They seem to be an electric team to watch. Plus beating Florida this year really made me a happy camper, at least that week. I like what they can do. You mentioned this is kind of like their biggest game. Obviously, the season they take it seriously because they don't typically go bowling often. So I like a heavily motivated team versus an Iowa team that Iowa. They're boring. I hate betting for them. 44 over.
This is probably going to be a pretty boring game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably not going to watch this one, but give me the more exciting team to maybe win this one. More motivated. Yeah, I like Kentucky here all day to cover that -3.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. The Rose Bowl, which is, one of the most classic bowl games there is. Number 11, Utah versus number 6, Ohio State. Ohio State is a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under is listed at 64. Looks like both you and Brandon are both on Ohio State, and I'm on the other side taking the Utes with the points.
Yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I can't cheer too hard for the Utes. They're the Utes. Ohio State has looked really good most of the season. I don't know the background. Are there many players out for Ohio State? Usually they have a lot that tip out this time of
Indeed,
year.
there are. There's supposed to be, I believe, like 5, including their top 2 wide receivers, and their best defensive tackle and their top offensive tackle. So Nicholas Petit Frere is the offensive tackle, actually from the Bay Area. You've got their defensive tackle, Haskins. I can't think of his first name at the time. And then you've got, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson both out for them. So Jackson Smith and Jigba, their wide receivers are both, their backup wide receivers are pretty good. Ohio State doesn't normally have a problem there. But the interesting thing is Chris Olave has been practicing basically all week and then decides to opt out of the game, which is a little bit strange because those reps could have been going to a younger player or somebody preparing them to get ready for this game as well. I like the points here. I think that there's a chance that Utah wins this game outright, but I will absolutely take those points. The other thing is Ohio State not super motivated for this game because, as we've seen, obviously they had national championship aspirations, which they did not live up to. And Utah is going to be super motivated for this game. I believe their coach, Kyle Whittingham, announced that he's planning on retiring after this. So kind of a way to send him out. Also, Utah's been awesome since their quarterback has taken over. And we saw what they did to Oregon, where they absolutely stomped both times. And transitive property, Oregon did beat Ohio State. So I like my chances here. I think Utah has a chance to win this game outright, but I will take those points.
Yeah, that Ohio State loss to Oregon was the transition point in the Ohio State's season. Their defense started actually playing football after that game. There was no defense in that Oregon game. Utah has looked great. Don't get me wrong, and you're right. They're going to be playing confident. They don't have a lot of players that are declaring for the NFL, so they're going to be pretty much like fully equipped. Ohio State, not so much. However, Ohio State has a lot of talent. You have a lot of young players. Now is their time to kind of step up and show like where they can, contribute to potentially earn their way up into the roster and get up into their spots. So I still like Ohio State. I don't bet against Ohio State very often, and usually bodes well for me here. But you're right. I'm not confident in this. I'm mainly picking primarily for the name. Give me Ohio State purely because I like Ohio State and what they've done, but I think you're right. I'm now questioning where my where I should be placing this one based on everything you said. But no, give me Ohio State. Give me the talent. They at least have their players have something to play for. Maybe not their players that are leaving and not playing. So we'll see how it works.
Next, we'll go to the Allstate Sugar Bowl. Number 7 Baylor versus number 8 Ole Miss. This is probably going to be one of the best games of the entire, maybe the entire bowl slate. Very contrasting styles. Dave Aranda is a former LSU coordinator, but he wasn't really there when Lane was at Ole Miss. But they did coach against each other plenty when they were obviously Alabama and LSU for defensive coordinator versus offense coordinator. I think Aranda was there for at least part of it. Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under is 55 points. Baylor's quarterback play is always a question for me. They are a really good team. Obviously, they beat Oklahoma State to win the Big 12 this year. Ole Miss is also a really good game. They do have Matt Corral for this. They're not having any opt-outs. And I just that's really where I'm leaning with it. I think better quarterback. But this is very much so a toss-up game for me. So I'm even tempted, kind of since both of you are on Ole Miss, to go the other way, but I will stick with it for now.
Oh, I love Ole Miss here because Kiffin is in there and he's just going to want to just run the scoreboard up and just make this an exciting game.
That's
Corral's
great, but it doesn't mean he's going to be able to.
Yeah, well,
he's going to want to, but it doesn't mean he's going to.
Yeah, well, Matt Corral is going to get out there and sling it. He's I guess number 2 on the board, and for most people's boards in means of QB. So I think he could potentially be the number 1 QB out there, but I think this game is the time for him to prove it. I just think the firepower for Ole Miss is definitely going to work out. Baylor hasn't scored more than 30 points in their last 4 games. So they haven't put up a ton of points as of recent. Ole Miss can be electric. Not saying it's going to be like that Ole Miss Arkansas game that goes down to the 2-point conversion at the end where both score over 50 by any means. But I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Ole Miss's defense is garbage, so Baylor definitely gets back on board and scores a lot. But give me Matt Corral making a big game and Lane Kiffin just putting pedal to the metal gas and throwing everything he has at it. I think it should be an exciting game to watch. So if there is one that you want to get to watch for that's exciting, check out this game.
I mean, let's be real. On Saturday, you should be watching all these games. They're all really good. So
absolutely.
And moving on to the last game of our slate here, on Tuesday, January 4th, so in between, all the games on Saturday and then the National Championship game, we get blessed with the Tax Act Texas Bowl featuring LSU versus Kansas State. Kansas State is 3.5-point favorite, over under of 48, and it looks like Brandon and I are on Kansas State, and you're on LSU.
All I gotta say is, damn you, Tax Act. Like 4 days after the new year, got to bring up taxes. Like, damn, I don't want to be like thinking about that till like February. Give me a break here.
That's where they're gonna get you.
I know. Perfect marketing, great play. Anyways, yeah. Give me LSU here. Coach O's last hurrah. That team.
Coach O is not coaching in this game.
He's not coaching this game. Damn, the entire my whole reasoning behind taking LSU here was that. No, I still think LSU is a very talented team. You're getting there. You're going to have that rebuild, but I just think from talent alone, LSU goes out there. They're a disconjointed team, so maybe something like this will maybe bring them together. Maybe get some young players to get out there. You get some leadership established, especially if you don't have Coach O there. Maybe that might happen. I'm just going to take the more talented team over a team that has played well, but I just think you got bigger, faster players on the other side that can make better plays. So give me LSU here in this one.
So for me, Kansas State is going to be the more motivated team. They have continuity of system. They're a team that's, on the rise in terms of what they've been doing recently. LSU is a team that is obviously replacing their head coach. Max Johnson is no longer going to be there. They're losing a bunch of guys to the portal. They're also losing a bunch of guys in the NFL. They've had tons of opt-outs and injuries all season long. So I think Kansas State's just going to be a more motivated team here in general, and they'll have more talent available to them. For that reason, I'm taking Kansas State.
I like it. Hey, but I know that was our last game that we were going through, and I'm sure after this week, Brandon and I will make a triumphant comeback to take over Newman in this in this scoring system. But I just have one question for you, and because I think I've got a comment on this one. But what was your favorite part about this season? Was there any story or anything out there that happened that was like, hey, this is pretty cool? That you enjoyed coming here, closing out the rest of the season?
I mean, you're putting me on the spot here. I don't necessarily know something that's really. I just kind of like the chaos that we had this year. There was a lot of chaos, and kind of I think it makes college football more interesting when you don't have the same 3-4 teams like Brandon likes with all his boring picks and stuff.
Chalk.
I like chaos. I think it's more fun. I think it makes everything more interesting. So I think that, we had one of the most chaotic football scenes that we've had in a long time this year. And I think that made it a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I know that it was definitely keeping you at the edge of your seat. A lot of things happened that wasn't expected, including, which was my favorite part, is a non-Power 5 school make it into the college football playoffs. I don't care the result of Cincinnati versus Alabama, which I do believe, and I
You do
talked to you
care.
today,
You do care.
I believe Bama is gonna just go in there and mollywop them. However, it's great to see that the committee got it right. They let in the one of the top 4 best teams, which was a non-Power 5 team. So at least we got to see it, and we'll see how it plays out. I hope. I kind of hope that it is close, because I think that will make a better case to expand to the 8 and to the larger team playoffs. But we'll see how it happens. But yeah, I love the chaos. I love Cincy getting in there. I just think that is a great story, even though it's probably going to end here on Friday. But it's been a fun one to watch for sure. So I can't wait to watch these games. It's going to be exciting. I'll let you know. I'll be glued to the screen all week and all weekend for sure.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some, kind of like a bowl wrap next week for you. Break down kind of what happened in some of the biggest games, especially obviously the semifinals, and then a little bit of a preview for the national championship game, as well as we're gonna start mixing in some. We're gonna keep going. It's not gonna be college football, obviously, but we're gonna have some college basketball in here for you. Pick up some of the other sports now that football is kind of coming down to a wind down. But we're gonna have plenty of good stuff for you throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, all college sports, probably football, probably basketball heavy, but all college sports. We'll be touching on the major sports topics out there. So regardless of what you like, if you like college sports, we'll be talking about it. So definitely come join us.
Yeah, and then also check out our other pods, like, share, follow all of us all over the place. All of our platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow our website, because Facebook likes to throttle everything down for us. So yeah, if you want more of us, go give us a follow. Follow us on your favorite podcast listening device, and we'll see you. Everyone have a good New Year.
Awesome. Happy New Year, everybody.